Hi, everyone. So today I would like to talk about fear of visibility and share a personal story. So here I am in this group with over 400,000 women, all of you all over the world there, and I want to share a personal story before I begin. I used to be terrified of being on camera. This, even clicking a button to record myself on camera without any exposure to any other people, without publishing, let alone going live, let alone going live in front of over 400,000 ladies out there from all over the globe, was impossible for me. It would, if I was told a couple of years ago, when this fear, which has been stopping me from a lot of things for many, many years, if I was told that I would be doing this in front of such a huge group of people, or even going live in front of one person, it would be equal to a death sentence for me. And what I'm going to talk about today is going to be, I'm going to explain a little more of an innovative approach that I have, which has helped me to overcome this fear, which I want to share with you ladies. Because for us, this fear it's terrifying. This fear is real. This is not something that can be just, just get over it and just do it, just practice. For those of us, and there are certain reasons why we are experiencing this and why it happens in such a real terrifying way, I'm going to go into it in a moment. For those of us, this is valid. I want to acknowledge you. I want to say that this is valid. This is not just an issue that can be dealt with practice. And yes, we can get there with exposure and practice. But then my question is it the only way, and is it the kindest way to our body and our nervous system? And so here's where I'm going to go into today. I'm going to talk about fear of visibility, and an approach to it that includes body, mind, and the subconscious and our energy. And what I mean by it specifically is I have discovered in my personal journey, and then I started doing it for other women like you, if you're experiencing this. What I have discovered is that while there are several root causes, many root causes behind this fear of visibility, and I'm going to go into two of them in a moment. But while there are multiple causes, in our bodies, it's experienced the same way. And depending on the level of past experiences in our life, it's either experienced stronger to that terrifying, absolutely being terrified level, or milder. And so I want to talk about the body first approach. But before I go into the body, let's just quickly go over a couple of examples too. Examples why this fear of visibility or camera. And by the way, fear of visibility is not only fear of camera, right? It's that fear of overall exposure, where we are afraid of publishing our work online, be it magazines and different other publishing venues, be it publishing our books. Maybe you're dreaming to write a book, but you have this inner sabotage. Or maybe you already wrote the book, but now you're afraid to go and publish it. For some of us, it's just clicking that button to go live, which will send us into this horrifying, terrifying state, a panic attack, anxiety, and it feels like we are dying. So I want to acknowledge it, and I want to say it's valid. Whatever level of gradations we are, right? And so it's this overall exposure, books, writing, making posts, marketing. For a lot of us, it will also reflect onto fear of sales and being in sales conversations, right? And so two of the most common ways that we look at fear of visibility at the surface level is fear of visibility because we're afraid of being not perfect, and fear of visibility when it actually physically feels like we're going to die, and it's the association that we have with it that is something that is dangerous because we feel we are different, and we feel that it's this danger kind of connotation association in our body. So when we go into the first one, the fear of being criticized and not being perfect, and overall the consensus is general knowledge, right? The fear of visibility, whichever that might be, whichever expression, it comes from such things as some negative experiences, emotional and different adverse life experiences, most likely in our childhood, right, that are affecting us to this day and are blocking us, because this is an important component, that it's blocking us in our business from that business growth, going to that next level, from being known, from claiming our expertise, being known as experts, showing up fully, and most importantly, showing up authentically as our true self. Hi, Vanessa. Yeah, thank you so much. So that, hi, ladies. Thank you so much for your comments. So, and I will, if you have any questions, I will gladly respond to any questions. I'll leave a couple of moments at the end. Thank you so much. So when we have experienced, so the perfectionism level of fear of exposure comes from some past experiences, right? When we've been criticized or bullied or abused or even neglected, right? The silent treatment is also a form of abuse and treatment that is negative, that then later as grown-ups, still with those inner children living in us, re-experiencing, and it re-triggers us. So it stops us in our business hugely. And this was a component that stopped me in my business. And because I'm quite new to the group, and this is literally my second live, I would like to share a little bit about myself before I proceed. So my name is Tatiana Vilarea. I'm a transformational hypnotherapy specialist. An intuitive, or for those of you who know the word claircognizant, I'm claircognizant, and I am an inner success coach. I work with women who struggle with emotional wounds and different challenges, be it fears or different other limitations, emotional triggers, and the roller coasters that we experience in our business. So blocks, inner conflicts, fears, and emotional triggers and wounds that stop them in their business and strongly affect their inner confidence, who want to step into that inner confidence, and be it clearing fear of visibility, which I'm talking about today, or fear of sales, or fear of success, or fear of failure. All of these inner blocks, and I guide them through a process that I created. It's an innovative process, and a big portion of this work is the work with the body and its memory, combined with the subconscious, and also combined with intergenerational, or for some of you, maybe the term transgenerational approach, and also soul and quantum level activation work. So all of this is combined in a modality that I created to help women to do the inner processes, to release those fears that I'm going to talk about in a moment, are stored in our bodies first and foremost. And then it's connected to the subconscious, and that's connected to transgenerational and collective experiences and imprints. This is why we're so afraid of being judged, because we literally evolved to fit in, belong, and we have in the evolutionary scale, we have been rejected and judged and even killed, right, for being different. So all of this plays out critically to the fear of visibility. So this is what I do, and we do that inner process and inner healing on many, many levels to get to that success that then reflects. So our outer success is a reflection of our inner success and how we feel. That inner confidence, the resolving the imposter syndrome. I talked about the imposter syndrome last week, right? And I have a group for soul-driven female entrepreneurs, impact income growth. For those of you who are interested, and I talk a lot more about these, all of these things in there. So back to the how we usually look at fear of exposure, right? The perfectionism. So all of these experiences in the past that made us feel different, judged, imperfect, all that strongly imposter syndrome and fear of visibility are very, very strongly associated. Fear of not being enough. And these fears, most of mindset approaches, which were actually born out of patriarchal structures, all the coaching, NLP, hypnosis, and other mind-based modalities, if we look deep enough, were originated, unfortunately, and because of that, we were educated in this way, in the patriarchal structures of our world that have run the world for thousands of years, where males have put all their focus on the mind first approach. And then when I was struggling with my fear of visibility and sales and many, many other blocks that I had to overcome myself, and now I'm teaching to others, my biggest breakthroughs in my business and my personal healing and my relationships and my everything were happening because I realized that it's my body that is storing the memory of not being enough, not being perfect, and we will go into it in a moment, but that fear, the danger, perception of danger, that visibility equals something dangerous, and the judgment and being rejected by others, but also tied to some traumatic or wounding experiences. So I realized that it is the body, first and foremost, that holds it in the neurocircuitry, in our neurochemistry, because our emotions are chemicals. And so our body remembers the pathways that happened in the childhood when we were criticized, or when we were told that we are not enough, or when our parents told us no a million times, when we weren't allowed to do things. So all of these experiences are stored in our neurocircuitry, in the neurological pathways, that which I started calling in my work body memory. And this is what's keeping us from that exposure. Now, the second component, when the second part that I wanted to talk about, when we literally feel that we're gonna pass out, or we have anxiety attacks, or that the terror that we experience in the body, oftentimes it's connected to some negative, adverse, deeply wounding, or even traumatic experience from our past. There are multiple types of traumas working with women for over the years. There are multiple experiences that can create, as a result, multiple fears, including fear of visibility and exposure. Because if our body and subconscious simultaneously, and by the way, traumatic experiences change our neurology and our brain, and therefore our whole life as a result. It's the scientific knowledge, and there are, actually, I developed this on my own through my trial and error experiences. And then I later found out that the leading experts in these kind of fields all over the world are all not starting, but are talking about this body first approach. And I was amazed. All good knowledge is universal knowledge, and all of us who know how to tap into it. And this is why soul work and energetic work is such a big component of my work with clients, connecting to that inner guidance within us, and ability to be in alignment with the universe, God, source, whatever you believe in, I don't bring my beliefs into my therapeutic relationships with my clients and my hypnotherapy or coaching. All right, it's the therapeutic effect happens nonetheless, no matter what we believe, because I work with the body memory And I also work psychodynamically with the parts of the psyche that got affected by those life experiences that are all in the now, unless they're cleared on the level of that psychodynamic approach, on the level of the body, and on the level of our subconscious mind and energy, and many, many others, in a combination of these factors. Unless they are cleared, we basically are re-experiencing these pathways, the neurocircuitry, and release the same chemicals all over and over again. And so the approaches that the mind-based modalities of many kinds that were born out of that mind-first approach of the masculine structures on this planet, we all have great intentions, right? As coaches, as practitioners, as amazing, amazing facilitators of different modalities. We have these amazing intentions to help our clients. But what if we're missing some very important components because we have been educated in a system that has not looked at a person holistically and disregarded the body completely. We have disregarded the body completely. And when I started this journey and continued developing my innovative, unique skills and applying them first to myself and seeing the success, because I was working on a completely different things in my life. My journey with this has been very long, and I share it in my group for those of you who are interested. I had so many other things, including being diagnosed with a developing cancer at age 21, and then being an immigrant. I came to America with $350 in my pocket alone at age 19. So this journey has been long. So I had a lot more reasons of why I started innovating and developing these practices, combining them with hypnosis to help myself. And then I realized the transformation that had happened for, yes, healing my body, yes, healing my emotions and my relationships and many other things. But then I realized I am using the same things for healing my business, so to say. And I was working at the time with women with emotional wounding and traumatic experiences using these approaches. And some of these women were entrepreneurs. And I saw how this work was affecting and has been affecting ever since their businesses and their money situations and their all other aspects too. And this is how I transitioned into this work fully. It became my soul's calling, it's my mission to bring in my 50 cents into this coaching, hypnotherapy, and more mind-based, with all the amazing intentions of all the practitioners trying to help people, but bring my 50 cents and spotlight that we are missing the body and the neural circuitry that remembers the fear of not being safe when we are seen. And only practice gets us to a certain level. But then let's say you get to kind of speak in front of camera. And when you want to go further and let what 2020 has shown us, right? That we cannot any longer create a business. Everybody moved online. We need to be exposed. We need to be known. We need to be visible to grow a successful business. So maybe we will practice enough to be on camera, but then we have to speak on stage and it comes out again and it gets re-triggered again because all the suppressed emotions and body memories, by the way, what keeps the body memory is the suppressed emotions. But there is a very also intricate way, and I work with two of the brain hemispheres using the simplest methods ever known to men for thousands of years, ridiculously as it sounds. Because what I realized is this is what indigenous people knew all over the world, and they used different practices, and all of indigenous cultures have done it all over the globe, so it's universal knowledge. They worked in one way or another with the body. They always included body practices. And also what they've done, they included work with the right brain hemisphere. there is a certain way how our emotions are, there is a certain way how emotions are suppressed, and how it has to be released. And it has to be done in not a passive way. We can't meditate it out. I just did a video in my group on can we achieve success only by manifesting and visualization and meditation, let's say, if you want to hear that part of the process. And I've tried it all. It's all personal and professional experience. I've been a meditator for over 6 years, and like a long-term, multiple hours a day kind of meditator. And what I discovered in my life is the biggest transformations I achieved were happening because I cleared my body memory and emotional memory, and worked very actively in that psychodynamic approach with the brain hemispheres both. This is how we bring ourselves to balance and homeostasis. This is, no matter what amount of adverse experiences we go through, and as women, we go through so much in our life, no matter what it is, however, we come back to homeostasis. Once the body is released, the emotions then are released. The subconscious mind starts working differently. So we can try to change by doing mind-based and subconscious work only. Or we can try a different approach to start with the body and do it in a combination and see everything just completely transforming, because then we don't even have to try so hard to overcome that fear of camera, to push with our willpower and go and practice and start small. I actually didn't start small. I did not, once the root causes in my body and emotional memory were released, I didn't start small. And for my clients, their feedback, they also could never imagine that they would be sitting in front of audiences and speaking on stages, or doing lives, or running group programs. I myself never even believed it was possible to be in a group setting. All my work used to be one-on-one, and it's deep work. And now I do a combination of both, or the group work. So all of these transformations, and the reason why it was so complete turnaround, 180, 360, is because I started with the ground up and worked from the body memory and the fear that it holds. So let's summarize all of this. We experience the fear, be it from the perfectionism and being afraid of being judged, being afraid of being criticized, being afraid of being seen by people who know us, or strangers. For some of us, we're more afraid of being criticized by those who we know, and for those of us, it's the strangers and the unknown, right? Or be it fear of visibility and exposure that we experience because our body stores the memories of a negative event, a traumatizing event, and which forever changed our brain and our body, and that's what needs to be released. So in both of those cases, and there are more, there is a transgenerational component that I also talk about and will be talking about in my challenge, which starts on the 9th of August. I'll talk about it in a second. So all of these components can be released, will be released, if we do it in this methodical, structural way and actually address what the old cultures, the indigenous people knew. And we don't have to go indigenous, but we must respect their traditions, and we can take the best, what is applicable to us in this transformative time where there is so much trauma coming up to the surface for us in this day and age. And for those of you who are resonating with this information and want to experience and learn the tools and techniques and practices, it is that I'm going to be sharing my transformation and how, and some of the tools and techniques and the theory behind them that I have developed in my own transformation, and now in transformation, in the transformational work with clients, and this challenge, So as I said, we start on August 9th. The name of the group is Soul Driven Female Entrepreneurs, Impact, Income, Growth. And I would love to see you there and share much more of this information and tools, and give you an opportunity to experience the tools and practice and be supported by me. It's a new group. I started recently. It's a growing group, and it's a small container for you to get personalized opinion, feedback, support from me, and also from like-minded and like-hearted ladies. And we would love to see you there. We would love to see you there if you have friends who are struggling in their business or career even, and this is limiting their growth of their business, going to the next level, or even starting a business, right? That visibility fear sabotages our, even at the start, right? All the fears of failure and success, and tied to imposter, all of that. So applicable to the fear of visibility, that's what it's going to be about. And I'm going to put a link in the comments, and I will be happy to see you there. And I also do private one-on-one work, especially with those adverse experiences and the body work that needs more private one-on-one focus, and also group work. So feel free to reach out, and I will gladly answer any questions. And this is my message to share with the community, that and emphasize that with wonderful intentions, with our soul drive, with being guided with our gifts, with our skills, and with our services or products, right? We want to make a difference in this world. And it is time to step into the more holistic approach, and maybe kind of ditch that mindset only and mind-based only, or mind-based first approaches. Because if they were working, then why are so many people still struggling with the fears, with the limitations, with emotional wounding? We must be missing something. And this is my 50 cents on the topic, that maybe we're looking in the wrong places, and maybe if we do it in this ground and up approach, we can create so many more changes for our clients, for ourselves, and for our communities, our countries, and the world overall, because this is why we do our business, right? And thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.